Hi, and welcome to the Courtenay Turner podcast. I'm your host, Courtenay, and I'm super passionate about moving and thinking. On this show, we are going to dive into all things health, fitness, personal development, lifestyle, and political, sociocultural. I've always been fascinated by people, and I love learning from the experiences and stories of others. This has been a treat for me, and I hope this is enjoyable and useful for you. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or any way that I can make this a better experience for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Hello, welcome to the Courtenay Turner podcast. I am here today with Peymon, Mottaheden, and we are in Brandon, Florida. We were just he did this Let's Go Brandon rally, and it is for his Freedom Law School where he teaches people, and I'm super excited about this concept because those of you, some of you may know, but I have a tiny little Telegram channel, and I had actually started it with the intention of bringing awareness to, taxes. And I feel like if we stop funding some of this madness, that might be a good thing. So he actually has not paid income tax in 29 years, is that right?
That's right.
So, and he teaches people, how to go about this and, be perfectly within your legal purview to do so. Because I know that seems like, kind of crazy to a lot of people and scary to some people. But, he's done it for 29 years as successfully, and he teaches and empowers people to have the same freedom. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You can see I've taken him on his day off, but we're enjoying the sunshine, so it's all good.
Yeah, we're in Brandon, Florida. The event just finished. It's a day of relaxation.
Yes, well earned. So can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide to, pursue your own path of not filing income taxes, and what made you start the Freedom Law School?
Well, I grew up in Iran in a Jewish family, came to America at age 14 in 1977. And my father talked about politics with his friends all the time. So I knew a lot about politics as a child. Come to America in 1977, I wonder why is America not as free as it was advertised on television?
right.
In Westerns. So back in 1992, on my way to work, I heard a interview of a lady who claimed that there is no law requiring Americans to file and pay income taxes. And I found it interesting because I used to set up people with individual retirement accounts. I did financial planning for 7 years, and I thought, this is interesting. I took down her number, called her that night, went to a meeting, and I was blown away. It's like, what? This is incredible. Why are we paying income taxes? And these Republican and Democrats, most of them, are the same party. I'll call them Demopublican and Republicrats.
Right.
I was a Libertarian Party activist since '89 when I became a U.S. citizen. And so I said, man, if we don't have to pay our enemies, the money's freed up now, not only for ourselves and our families, for each of us to have a better life, but we can also fund the freedom candidates, statesmen like Congressman Ron Paul of Texas, who ran for president, and get our country and our freedoms back. So that's what inspired me to start learning, teaching others, and that led to 1996, I started Freedom Law School.
Wow. So when you went about your own path, what were some of the biggest hurdles and the biggest surprises that you came across?
Well, the hurdle was not really a hurdle at all, really, because I just looked at the law. The lady that night showed me the law. I said, I don't want philosophy. I am with you philosophically that we should not have income tax.
Right.
But I demanded, and she showed me the law. And I looked it up and verified it for myself. And so it was not a hurdle at all. For me, it was just the easy, smooth. Look, 2 + 2 is 4. Prove it to me, and I'll go with your math.
Right.
It was that simple. Either there is a law or there is not a law. She showed me, and it was just, from that was just learn more. It's just life is about growing, love, and fun, and joy, and, sharing. Why be afraid? I don't know. I was never kind of person that was, closed-minded. I was curious to learn.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a very comfortable path.
Amazing. So when you looked at the law, what was the first thing you saw that you realized, okay, yes, this makes perfect sense. I am fully supported here in these actions?
Well, she showed me a few internal revenue code sections that did not show who was exactly made liable. It was kind of very vague.
Right.
Why is it not clear? And then I remember the most compelling thing for me was that the U.S. Constitution guarantees many rights for us, like free speech, right to bear arms, jury trial, many other rights.
Sure.
But it also guarantees our right to be silent and not say any information to the government that they may use against us. Like the police, if they ever arrest you, they read you your rights. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to a lawyer. So that's called the Fifth Amendment right to be silent.
Right.
And I didn't know what the Fifth Amendment was. And I noticed that on the 1040 income tax instruction booklet, IRS says we may use this information and share it with other countries, states, and local governments.
Right.
And I thought, wait a minute, they could give this information to others that could use it against me, like the government of Iran, where I come from, potentially. And Fifth Amendment, I need to look this up. So I grabbed my roommate, who was a teacher, his U.S. history book, and the back of it was a copy of the Constitution.
Nice.
And I looked up the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Sure enough, it does say, basically, you cannot be forced to say anything that potentially could be used against you criminally to put you in prison. And we are voluntarily giving up that right. And the IRS uses every piece of information that we give on those 1040 income tax confession traps against us. So for me, that was clear. Something really smells rotten, and I'm gonna have to find out more about this.
Yeah. Wow, that's so profound. So few people, I think this is always so fascinating to me personally, so few Americans know the Constitution, which I think is a huge problem and part of why we're in the situation we're in today.
Yes.
And I find, immigrants tend to know our Constitution far better than we do. And I'm one of those crazy people who actually thinks it would be really great to have just a really basic civics test before people can vote. That should be you should know kind of how things work before you have a say.
To become a citizen in the first place.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So when you started this process and you just decided not to file because the filing is the admission.
File and pay. File or pay. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, right, because they go hand in hand.
That's right.
Yeah. So what is what is the reaction when you first tell people about this?
Well, back in 1992, when I was 29 years old, and I set up my very first meeting in my apartment complex, and I told a bunch of people to come and check it out.
Yeah.
0 people showed up.
Yeah.
And I was amazed, like, what? Don't you want to better your life?
Right?
Why would you give your money away? I was young and poor.
Right.
I want to better my life. Well, why wouldn't anybody else want to better their life?
Yeah.
So I found that, unfortunately, American people have been successfully programmed with lies and deception of the media.
Yes.
That the IRS is this powerful God that's going to get you. They watch you, they know you, they see you, and they year after year, the media gives us same lies that they did about the Trump-Russia conspiracy hoax, the coronavirus hoax, the January 6th insurrection hoax, that Iraq was involved in 9/11 attacks on New York and had nuclear weapons. All these lies.
Right.
the bigger law that's been around for many decades was that you have to be a slave, that
Yep.
you have to file income tax, and the safe, smart thing to do, this is the biggest lie,
Yeah.
that the safe, smart thing to do is to follow those 10, 40 income tax confession forms, put the rope around your neck, chain on your neck, give it to the IRS anyway, so you don't end up paying more penalties and interest later on.
Right. Right. So that's the response you kind of get from people. Like they want no part of it. They're afraid. They're duped into this lie because
Yeah.
it is a lie.
Yeah. The same, and Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, all these guys, that they're censoring stuff
Yeah.
that everybody knows. Well, the mainstream media before the high tech censored a lot of stuff to us, like about the truth about income taxes.
Yeah. So what do you find is like the first shift in people to come around to realizing the truth and to empowering them to make a voluntary decision, whether
Sure.
they want to. If you want to give
Sure.
your money, do that, but it should be your choice, not an obligation because you're scared to
Right.
death.
Well, what I do is I say, number one, you have to educate and inform yourself.
Right.
I can give you the information, the facts,
Yeah.
but you have to make that individual choice
Yeah.
to free yourself. So the first thing I do it on Freedom Law School's website at livefreenow.org. Livefreenow.org is right off the top of the first page of the 7-step plan to be free of virus deception, robbery, and slavery.
Right.
Now is to see the law. And I show people the law in a 10-minute presentation from government's own official legal websites.
Yeah.
There it is. I put the pieces of the puzzle together that are there,
Right.
but you couldn't see it because it was all mixed up in this huge volume of laws
Yeah.
that's so voluminous. I put the right connections together and they see, oh yeah, in 10 minutes, I see it for myself.
Right.
And that is the start of the journey. To follow that 7-step of education and self-empowerment.
Yeah.
And then you can free yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say that, one of my missions on this podcast is to inform, inform, educate, and empower.
Yeah.
Right? So, inform, inspire, and empower.
Yeah.
Right. Those are kind of the things I want to do here. And people need the information, and, then they can become inspired to do something with it. And then they're empowered, right? They're empowered to take ownership of their sovereignty.
That's right.
So one of the things you talked about that I thought was just really, really profound is you talked about, the geography of the United States, and you talk about D.C. and the distinction. Can you clarify a little bit of that for my
Sure.
audience? Yeah.
Deception is the number one evil tool.
Yes.
And to give an example, many of your audience members probably know that the corona hoax, the way they define it is if you die of corona,
Yeah.
they list your cause of death as corona death numbers that count that fake number. So you could have had a car accident,
Yes.
come in the hospital emergency room.
You
They
died
give
with
you-
corona.
They test you with that phony PCR test, which is not a corona test, it's a
No.
phony test.
Terry
that-
Mullis said it does not diagnose. It's not diagnostic.
It's not diagnosed.
He
it
invented
just,
it.
It just finds out you have some genetics.
Yeah.
It just looks for genes, doesn't look for a virus.
Exactly.
If it tests positive,
Yeah.
and that man who in a car accident was gonna die, they list the cause of death as corona.
They do.
So the same thing they've done with the United States. You see, the U.S. government is the agent of the 50 states.
Yeah.
The 13 states in 1776 became independent countries, 13 of them, and after 13 years under Articles of Confederation, they were independent countries. They came together in 1789 and created a government agent of them called the United States to handle some of the common needs of the 13 new states. like common defense, common money, common immigration, 18 of these specific duties.
Right.
And all your powers were retained by the states as independent countries. And for this new government to be independent and not under the thumb of any of the states, they located it in a future to be determined land, which became the 10-mile square Washington, D.C., and they gave it complete independence and authority to handle the affairs of anything in that land called Washington, D.C.
Yep.
So the United States, in law, could refer to all the states of the Union or to that land called Washington, D.C. So most of us, when we think about the United States, we think about the 50 states of the Union. We're living in a union, not a country.
50 sovereign states, yeah.
50 that's why the president gives the State of the Union address, not State of the Country address.
Yep.
It's a union of
We're not a homeland. We're 50 sovereign states.
That's right. I'm a Floridian. You were a Californian.
I was.
Now you're a Tennessean.
I am.
And we are in a country of our own with its own legislature, with its own
constitution,
governor, constitution, judiciary. That's right. And so the United States U.S. income tax that we are deceived into thinking applies to people of the 50 states. It only applies to citizens and residents of this tiny Washington, D.C.
10 square mile radius.
That's it. And they didn't tell us that. It's in the law books. You'll see it on our front page of our website at livefreenow.org from government's own legal official websites.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you talk about the deception. I always say that whatever you want to call them, the Satanists, the powers that be, the occultists, that they're kind of all the same to me. They're just wearing different cloaks. But they have their trinity that they worship, and it's the triple D's. It's distortion. They have to distort things, and that's part of deception, right?
That's right.
And then they divide and conquer. That's why
right.
It's all about creating these little factions. That's part of what the whole identity politics is all about.
Right.
They want as many little warring factions as possible, because it's much easier to conquer your enemy if they're destroying each other.
Right.
You don't have to lift a finger, they'll do it for you. And then the other one is the destruction. They destroy everything, and that's like the whole postmodernist philosophy. They don't create, they destroy.
That's right.
So I'm curious your thoughts a little bit about that. You mentioned some of that, you do think this is kind of a satanic.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. They want a one-world satanic government, and they keep you ignorant, then deceive you, and with that, like you said, they divide us, so we're fighting with each other, man versus woman, black versus white, homosexual versus straight, any kind of division, and you fight against each other while they're at the top laughing, and they get us destroying each other. That's what they're doing.
That's right. That's exactly what they're doing. What are your thoughts on some of the antidotes to, this corruption, the destruction, the evil that is? It's become quite pervasive at this point.
Yes.
It's like a cancer. It's metastasized.
Well,
how do we cure it?
It's actually pretty simple if you choose, because I believe the most important movie of all time is Matrix 1. Those of you who've seen it, you know about the red pill.
Yeah.
So if you choose to take the red pill of truth and let it take you down the rabbit hole, you'll be the Neos that free yourself and your family and the people you love, and ultimately our country and the world. The world looks to America as a beacon of freedom. If we lose America, the world has no hope.
Yeah.
So really, bottom line is, you just have to choose to inform yourself.
Right.
And the 7-step plan of our website is, you know the law.
Yeah.
You know the IRS is not God.
Right.
They don't have the power as
They're
they
the beast.
told you. They're not powerful. You are powerful. they made you feel and believe you are weak and ours is powerful, going to get you. It's a lie. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I've shown you myself. I have beaten the Irish. They've been after me for, I know, at least 28 years.
Right.
They had me on the criminal investigation, other investigations, as potential fraudulent tax protest promoter.
Whoa.
This is 1994. I'm not in prison. I'm free. They know about me. They came after me for over $600,000 in 2009
Yeah.
for 13 years of taxes. I had their own tax court and the Irish Appeals Office remove it all. You know,
Amazing.
so my students have beaten the Irish. I had one of my students. They put a $4.6 million tax claim against them, all zeroed out.
Amazing.
So you need to know about this, that you can beat the beast. The beast is not as powerful as they pretend to be. And then the next step is just question authority. It's an American thing to do. We assist you. You can do it for free on our website at livefreenow.org. Write to Congressman about this, the lawmakers, all three of them, these letters, these petitions to Congressmen. Look, here's the law. If I'm wrong, I will pay my fair share of taxes humbly. But if I'm right, you, that's supposed to represent we, the American people, and defend the U.S. Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, you need to act. Let other congressmen know about it and stop the robbery of the American people. And after that, you know, we are available to protect you. We have a program to restore America, to help you live free. You know, that you can join in with other loving, freedom-loving patriots like you, join hands. You know, that everybody can afford to join in to provide you support and backup, so you're not alone. And the last step is to reach out to others, inform others, give them the chance to live free, and we want to reward you and pay you for up to $5,000 for freeing others from slavery and helping us have the funds to support freedom-loving statesmen, patriots to represent us in our government and take our government, get our country back once again, like the founding fathers did, hopefully without having to use arms again.
Yeah, yes, exactly. We can do this without going kinetic, absolutely.
That's right.
And I think, you know, it's such an important point for people to understand the things that those taxes fund. A lot of them are not in the interest of the American people. A lot of them are not in the interest of people around the world, actually.
Yeah, well, in Pentagon audit, and that was done late 1990s, on September 10th, 2001.
Yep, right before 9/11.
The day before 9/11, and the records of that was in the part of the Pentagon that got blown off. How coincidental. Conveniently showed it was on CBS News. It's on our website, on a video, on our YouTube channel, where Donald Rumsfeld says on camera they cannot account for, which means they cannot find, $2.3 trillion. $8,000 per man, woman, and child of like 1999 money in that. So today's money for every man, woman,
it was
child.
2001.
Yeah, the report came out, but it was done about late 1990s years. They did a multi-year audit. Okay, so this is the incredible waste they do of your money.
You're okay.
It is not spent for roads, for schools, for police. All these services that you depend on are provided by your property tax, sales tax, local taxes.
Exactly.
The federal income tax is a rat hole of waste, corruption, criminality. You know, Hillary Clinton, the Bushes, the Romneys, you know, the FBI, CIA, criminality, NSA, CDC, use against you.
Yep.
That's what's going on to do that, and they cover it up for each other, like they did in the Soviet Union.
Yeah. This is how mafias work, and we're empowering them.
Yeah, voluntarily, because they duped us into thinking if you don't voluntarily pay money to our enemies, then they're gonna get you. You're gonna lose your bank account, your paycheck, put you in jail. It's all a fraud.
So let me ask you this to make this distinction between, because I always really try to drill home for people that all politics are really local. That's where people have some sort of power to effectuate change, if there is any power to effectuate change.
Right.
Because at the federal level, I think we can see from the last election, it's questionable whether we ever had any real voice. I always tell Carol Quigley, who was the record keeper for the CFR, said we have not had federal elections for over 100 years, and that was decades ago when he said that. So if we take that to be true, then we really should be focusing on the local. So when there are local taxes, there are state taxes, and those should go to empower the people, things like that you were talking about, the roads and the local protections. So how is it, I think some of the concerns people have, this is long-winded, but I really want to drive all that home, but some of the concerns people may have is if they're filing those taxes, will they be discovered in not filing for the federal?
No, there's no filing for property tax. You just pay it. Sales tax,
but there's records, right? So.
But there's nothing to use against you at all. All it is. Yes, I'll be there with you. I'm doing the interview right now.
Miss April took care of everything. She just told me that you were enjoying yourself here, so I was like, I'm gonna stop and say hi.
I want to stop by and say hi to you too.
Aww.
Okay, give me time. I'll get with you a little bit. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. So the taxes that are paid at a local level, a property tax, is just a bill. Sales tax you paid when you buy something is done.
Right.
Your gas tax is done. So all those DMV taxes you paid right there, this has nothing to do with federal income tax whatsoever. It's a different beast. So you can stop legally and safely pay federal income taxes.
Right.
Now, it does not affect anything else.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important for people to understand that, because I think people think, well, if there's this record of one, are they going to find that I haven't? Yeah.
Because they don't talk to each other.
Right.
They're all 50 countries in the union and the 51st country of the federal government. They don't talk. They don't even talk amongst themselves. Inside their own government, not to mention go outside to other governments.
Right.
They're a bunch of incompetents, folks. They're not this efficient machine to get you they want you to believe.
That's for sure. They couldn't account for $2.3 trillion, so...
Can't even find it. They don't know where the money went.
Which I'm not so sure that that's the real story, but,
That's what the auditor said, government said.
Yeah.
Government Accounting Office auditor said that back in 2001. And right now it's worse, of course. Afghanistan, they left, about 80 billion, they guess, of tanks and trucks and everything else, military equipment in Afghanistan. Who knows how much they left behind?
Right. Well, I'm so appreciative of what you're doing, and you're really empowering people, and hopefully I think that this is one of the key ways that we can take our country back. It is supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people. I really agree with what you're saying about America being the last bastion of hope. I always use the beekeeper analogy. I say that they talk about how when all the bees go, that humans will cease to exist. And I think America is like the beekeeper for the world. Because when America follows the world will follow. And so it's incumbent upon the people of the United States of America to preserve the free will of humanity. And this is one of the ways they can do it. This, will liberate people and stop funding, our enemies, you so aptly said. So if you have anything else you want to add, and of course, give them the website again and where people can find you and find school and start to empower themselves and the country.
Well, at our website, livefreenow.org, there's a 7-step plan for you to start liberating yourself of deception, robbery, and slavery of the IRS. So follow that 7-step plan at livefreenow.org. And Let's Go Brandon rally, we just had 3.5 days of it.
It was incredible. Really just such an incredible
Thank
conference.
you.
Yeah.
The online streaming of it we did, the recorded version is available very nominally. Available, maybe I think it's $50 or something like that.
Wonderful.
You want to get that at letsgobrandonrally.org, and that will talk about the income tax, so much more about the deception and lies and all these areas of our lives that was kept from us. The mainstream media, the high tech keeps from us, and you're gonna feel so much better about yourself. That you are doing something about freedom. You're not just going to another website and hear about the problems. This is bad. That is bad. What do we do?
Right.
I call those. I used to go to these meet, eat, and retreat Libertarian Party meetings where we brought speakers that talked about the problems, but there was no real solution.
Right.
Besides electing good people in government, that doesn't seem to happen, unfortunately, because they have all the money to advertise themselves to the uninformed masses.
Yeah.
But this way, you can take action right now to, first of all, improve the life of yourself and your family immediately. Imagine you get a 20 to 30% pay raise right now, immediately. How would that impact your life? And then you could take some of that funds and be a part of supporting the freedom causes and freedom statesmen we need to get into office.
Yes.
To protect their rights. That's why I always give the maximum to Congressman Ron Paul of Texas, who ran for president. Me and my wife every year gave a maximum amount allowed by law to him.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, you clearly were a big fan at the time, but I think so many people are waking up to how many truth bombs he dropped at that time that people thought were just insane.
Right.
I can tell you how many people just thought I would hear it all the time, that he's Looney Tune. And we're seeing it right before our eyes, that everything he said, I don't want to say everything, but a lot of... Most everything he had to say was really right on the money.
That's right.
Yeah. We're seeing it played out. All right. Well, I won't take up more of your time. I'm so grateful for what you're doing and for you taking this time today. Thank you so much.
And I hope to meet you all someday soon. And above, if you're from Communist Republic of Mexicania, California, leave just like Courtenay did. Come to freedom state like Tennessee or Florida, New York. Leave these corrupt states.
Yes.
And come to a freedom state. That's a big freedom move to improve your life, as well as be part of the freedom states that are working to restore freedom for you.
I want to tag along with that. One of the ways that we really can take this country back is to make the red states redder.
That's right.
That is a huge part. I am all for being in, the battle for freedom. I want to clarify, when I'm talking figurative battle for freedom. But, there's a time when you need to in battle retreat and understand when you've lost that battle and go shift your resources.
Right.
And, I think it's real, what you're saying about go to the freedom states, make them redder, empower them, fortify them.
That's right.
And, stop giving your money to corruption.
Yeah. That's a great thing. So, and I'm so glad I left California. I couldn't wait. I will never go back. People say, are you going to visit California? And I say, what for?
Right.
It's so wonderful in Florida, the freedom state. Number one freedom state in America is Florida. F for freedom and Florida. Remember that.
And this is why we have the 10th Amendment. The current administration doesn't acknowledge the 10th Amendment, but the 10th Amendment means that, we are sovereign states and there is power in the states' rights.
The states have more power
than
the federal government. They just need to exercise it. In fact, there's a lot of the stuff Biden tried to do to force employers with 100 plus people to vaccinate their people through some regulation. It was the states that stood up and said, you can't do that.
That's right.
That it was the red states that did that, like Florida. So yes, you moving out of these communist states is a big step in the right direction for you and for America to be free.
Amen to that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. My pleasure.
Thank you.